When others are panicking, I am not buying what you think is necessary. I have quietly stockpiled 12 foods. Not rice, not beans, not the things everyone rushes to grab first. Because I know one very clearly. What the crowd chooses will disappear first. You will see that scene very familiar. Empty shelves, full carts, people taking whatever is left just because they are afraid there will be nothing left to take. And that is when the problem begins. Not when you run out of food, but when you have enough but cannot sustain. Many people have plenty at home, but still lose strength after just a few days. Not because they prepared too little, but because they prepared wrong. What I stockpile are not main foods, but the things behind them. The things that keep meals going, keep the body from slipping, keep you from giving up halfway. And the most important thing is, most people do not see them until they need them, and they are no longer there. And the last item is the one that when you realize its value, the shelf is usually already empty. 12. Tahini sesame butter. An overlooked energy source. Have you ever eaten enough, but still felt weak? Not hungry, but tired. I have been like that. And it took me a few days to realize the problem was not the amount of food, but what I was not eating. Not a lack of rice, not a lack of protein. It was a lack of fat. I realized it when my body started to slow down. After a few days of eating very simply, rice, dry foods, a little protein, my energy dropped clearly. Easier to get tired, harder to focus. The feeling of fullness disappeared faster than usual. That was not a calorie deficiency. That was the body not having enough fat to sustain itself. And that is when tahini appears. Tahini is just ground sesame seeds. But inside it is what your body actually needs. Dense fat to produce energy, calcium, and magnesium to help stabilize the nervous system, help the body stay warm and maintain endurance. One small spoon can replace the amount of energy you would need to eat multiple servings of rice to get. That is why when you add it to a meal, the feeling of fullness lasts longer and the body stabilizes again. But the system does not prioritize things like that. Tahini sells slowly, not something people buy every week. Low profit, not placed in visible positions. And when shipping costs rise, ingredients go up, shelf space is tightened. Products like this will gradually be removed. No one announces it. But if you pay attention, it disappears little by little. Not that you do not need it, but the system does not want to keep it. I saw that very clearly on a long trip. By the third day, the whole group started losing strength. No one lacked food, but everyone was tired. One person brought tahini, just one small spoon added to a meal. A few hours later, everything stabilized again. Not a miracle, but enough to continue. And this is where many people get it wrong. Not in buying, but in how they store it. Tahini is very stable, but just store it wrong. Loose lid, heat, direct light. The oil in the sesame will oxidize. The smell turns rancid. The taste becomes bitter. And you think it spoiled naturally, while in reality, you caused it to spoil. If stored properly, unopened tahini can last 6 months to 1 year in a cool, dry place. After opening, just seal it tightly. It can last a few more months. Put it in the fridge, you can extend it longer. No special conditions needed, but just one mistake. It spoils faster than you think. A jar of tahini costing $5 to $8 can be used for many days. An energy bar costing $3 to $5 is only enough for one time. One side is almost unnoticed. One side is packaged and sold at a higher price. But when everything starts to become scarce, the simple one always lasts longer. And when fat sources like this disappear, You do not just lose one food. You start eating more, but still feel tired. Spend more money for the same level of energy. A small change leads to a big change in how your body operates. For me, tahini is not a side item. It is a sign that the system is ignoring the basics just because they are not profitable enough. And if a simple energy source like this can be removed without you realizing, are you sure what you are eating every day is actually helping you function better? 11. Canned sardines, independent food. Someone I know went through 5 days without power after a storm. By the 4th day, he told me a sentence that I do not forget. I have food, but I no longer have the ability to use it. It sounds unreasonable, but that is when everything begins to change. The first day still cooks normally. The second day starts saving fuel. By the 3rd day, every time turning on the stove becomes a decision. And by the 4th day, cooking is no longer something obvious. It becomes a burden. Time, effort, fuel. And that is when the real problem shows up. Not how much food you have, but how much of it you can use immediately. This is where sardines appear. No need to cook. No need to heat. No need for electricity. Just open and eat. It sounds simple, but in a real situation, that is the boundary between eating enough and starting to skip meals. Most of the food in your kitchen depends on a chain that you do not notice. Must have electricity, must have a stove, must have time, must have energy to prepare. When one link breaks, the entire system stops. That is the silent killer. Dependence on convenience. Sardines are one of the few foods that completely break that chain. One small can contains complete protein, healthy fats, omega-3, things that help the body maintain energy, stay alert, and function steadily when you are under stress. No need to cook. No need to prepare. A normal meal can take 20 to 30 minutes, needs a stove, needs fuel. One can of sardines, 10 seconds. Depends on nothing. And this is what many people do not realize. When you are tired, you cook less. When you cook less, you eat less. When you eat less, energy drops. And when energy drops, you start making worse decisions. One small mistake leads to a chain collapse. But there is something interesting. Sardines are always overlooked. Smell, texture, feeling. Not everyone likes them. And because of that, no one fights over them when things start to become chaotic. One can costs about $1 to $3. Lasts 3 to 5 years. No complicated storage needed. Just keep in a cool, dry place. But if the can is swollen, heavily dented, or has a strange smell, you must throw it away immediately. That is a sign the food is no longer safe. And this is the most important thing. You can have an entire kitchen full of food, but in reality, only a very small portion of it is something you can eat immediately. For me, sardines are not a difficult food. They are a sign that the system you depend on is more fragile than you think. And if one day you no longer have electricity, no longer have a stove, are you sure you have something you can actually eat immediately? 10. Dry sea salt, something with no calories. But without it is collapse, no calories, no protein. But just lacking it, your body begins to malfunction. Salt is almost invisible in the way we buy food. It is always there, always cheap, always available. And because of that, no one thinks about stockpiling it for a serious situation. But your body does not operate the way you think. Water alone is not enough. When you lose power, change your diet, or sweat more than usual. What your body loses the fastest is not calories. It is electrolytes. And without sodium to retain water, to maintain nerve transmission, to stabilize blood pressure. You can drink a lot of water, but still become weaker. This is the point most people do not prepare for. The current food system hides salt inside processed products. You do not see it, because it is already in everything you eat every day. But when that system disappears, no more packaged foods, no more processed foods. The amount of salt you take in drops very quickly without you realizing it. And that is when the problem appears. Salt is not something you add to make food taste better. It is what keeps your body functioning normally. Without it, your body begins to become unstable, tired, dizzy, reduced ability to focus. In a stressful situation, those signs come faster than you think. What is notable is, the system does not consider salt a high-value product. Low profit. No need for advertising. No need for prominent display. And when shelf space is optimized, products like that are always pushed out first. Not because they are not needed, but because they are not worth keeping. But in reality, it is what you need the most when everything else starts to become scarce. A pack of dry sea salt costs only a few dollars, can be stored almost indefinitely if kept dry. No special conditions needed. Does not depend on electricity. But just let it get damp. It clumps, becomes hard to use, and loses its convenience. The biggest mistake is not having salt, but not storing it properly. Compared to hundreds of dollars for stored food, something that costs a few dollars can determine whether you can retain water in your body or not. And this is the effect that few people see. When your body cannot retain water, you drink more. When you drink more, your water supply runs out faster. And when water becomes a problem, everything starts to escalate. Not a lack of food, but an imbalance. Salt is not something you eat to live better. It is something you need to not collapse. And if something that can keep your body functioning is something you almost never think about when preparing, then the problem may not be what you lack, but what you have never considered important. 9. Powdered peanut butter, the lightest thing. But the most decisive. Can you carry more food, but become weaker faster? It sounds unreasonable. But that is the mistake many people are making, without even realizing it. Most people choose regular peanut butter. Thick, heavy, familiar. But in a disrupted system, familiar is no longer an advantage. Weight becomes the problem, and value per gram becomes what determines how long you can last. Powdered peanut butter is something almost no one notices, not because it is inferior, but because it is not designed to sell fast. No strong advertising, not placed in a prominent position. And when you buy out of habit, you will not see it. But this is where the system begins to reveal itself. Shipping costs are always calculated by weight, not by nutrition. You are paying to transport water and excess fat instead of real value. And when the supply chain tightens, things that are heavy but inefficient become a real burden. Powdered peanut butter removes most of the excess fat, keeps the protein, minerals, and the ability to recreate the familiar form with just water. That means you can precisely control what you need: energy, thickness, portion. No excess, no waste, no loss. I realized this during a preparation for a long trip. When I reweighed my entire backpack, I realized most of the weight did not come from calories, but from unnecessary things. My shoulders started to ache. Movement became slower. And that was when I understood. The problem is not that you carry too little, but that you are carrying the wrong things. A 500-gram jar of peanut butter. You carry the full 500 grams of weight. A powdered bag, significantly lighter, but still gives you the ability to create an equivalent usable amount. When every gram matters, that is no longer a small detail, and this is what many people do not realize. When you carry more weight, you consume energy faster. When you consume faster, you need to eat more. And when resources are limited, that loop will wear you down day by day. Not a lack of food, but inefficiency. Storage is also where many people make mistakes. Powder is very sensitive to moisture. Just one exposure to moisture, it will clump, lose its smell, and become almost unusable properly. If kept sealed, dry, away from light, you can store it for 1 to 2 years, even longer if packaged well. But just one mistake, you lose everything. And this is the micro shock that few people notice. Most people are carrying weight, not nutrition. Powdered peanut butter is not a substitute version. It is an optimized version for a system that is no longer stable. And if just one small change in how you choose food can cut half the burden you carry every day, are you sure what you are stockpiling today is actually helping you survive longer? 8. Instant miso soup, a reset button you do not realize can you become tired just because your body is out of balance without you noticing. Miso is not a soup to make you full. It is something that readjusts your internal state. In one small cup is sodium, minerals, and fermented enzymes. Elements that help the body retain water better, stabilize the nervous system, and reduce the feeling of stress. Hot water is just the medium. The real effect lies in how the body responds afterward. In normal days, you do not notice its role. But when you eat monotonously for many days, when your body starts to slow down, when you no longer want to eat more, things that are easy to absorb and light like that become important. Not to be full, but to continue. The retail system does not highlight products like miso. It does not create an immediate sense of value, not something that makes you buy more. And because of that, it is not in the first choice of the majority. But in reality, when cooking becomes difficult, when you no longer have the energy to prepare a full meal, something that only needs hot water, ready in a few minutes, keeps your body in rhythm. Storage is simple. Keep it dry, sealed, avoid moisture. It can last 12 to 18 months. But if moisture gets in, the whole package can degrade very quickly. The mistake is not in buying, but in underestimating how to store it. Not a main dish, not something that draws attention, but in prolonged periods. It is what keeps you from slipping out of a stable state. And if you only prepare for hunger, but do not prepare for how your body reacts to stress, then you are missing something more important than you think. 7. Canned beets performance. You do not see you still eat as usual, but your body slows down, not a lack of food. But the way your body uses it changes. Beets are not a common food. They do not create an immediate sense of necessity, but inside them is natural nitrate. When it enters the body, it converts into nitric oxide, helping dilate blood vessels, increase blood circulation, and deliver oxygen to muscles and the brain more efficiently. That does not make you feel fuller, but it makes you more enduring. In prolonged days, the difference is not in how much you eat, but in how efficiently your body operates. When circulation decreases, you get tired faster. When you get tired faster, you consume more. And when that repeats, the entire plan begins to drift. This is the kind of value the system does not prioritize. It does not create a strong, immediate effect. It does not make people buy right away. And when product categories are reduced, things like this are usually the first to disappear. But in reality, It is a silent factor that keeps your body functioning steadily. One can cost about $1 to $2, can last 2 to 5 years. No preparation needed, can be used immediately. But many people overlook it, just because it is unfamiliar or does not seem important. The mistake is not in lacking food, but in not understanding what the body needs to maintain performance. Beets do not help you survive a day. They help you not decline over many days. And if you only focus on the amount of food, but do not look at how your body uses it, then you may not lack energy. You are just gradually losing the ability to maintain it. 6. Ghee, clarified butter fuel that does not depend. You do not lose energy immediately. You lose it in a very silent way. The meal is still enough, but after a few hours, you drop faster. Hands get cold, head feels heavy, and you start eating more. But do not get better. The problem is not the amount of food, but the form of energy. Ghee exists at a different level. It does not need refrigeration, is not broken when power is lost, and does not spoil quickly when temperature changes. Because almost all water and protein have been removed, what bacteria and oxygen need to break down food is no longer there. This is exactly the point where the system cannot interfere with you. One small spoon does not make you fuller. It makes you last longer. When you eat carbohydrates continuously without fat alongside, energy rises quickly, then drops quickly. Ghee smooths that out. The comparison is very clear. Fresh butter depends on the cold chain, cheap oils are easily oxidized, but ghee stands almost outside both of those risks. The price of one jar may be higher, but each use is very small and it can last for many years. Storage is very simple. Keep it sealed, dry, away from light. The biggest mistake is introducing moisture inside. Just one time using a wet spoon, you have already started destroying it from the inside. When the cold system is no longer stable, what determines things is not how much food you have, but how long you can retain energy. 5. Potato flour ability to recreate. There is something that disappears even before food. That is variety. You still have food, but everything starts to feel the same. Same texture, same feeling. And you eat less, even though you still have enough. This is the point where potato flour begins to have real value. It is not a main dish, but a tool to change a meal. Just with water, you can turn something thin into something with structure, from loose into cohesive, from just eating to finish, into something you can actually eat. This may sound small, but over many consecutive days, it determines whether you continue eating or not. In terms of the body, the starch in potato flour helps you stay full longer, does not spike quickly, then drop like simple carbs. The silent killer here is not the lack of food, but repetition. The thing that makes you bored and eat less each day. Potato flour breaks that loop. The comparison is very clear. Wheat flour depends on supply and easily degrades if stored incorrectly. Potato flour is less noticed, but more flexible and more stable. Low cost, but the value lies in its ability to transform. A common mistake is keeping it in the original paper bag, which absorbs moisture very quickly and ruins the flour from the inside. The correct way is to transfer it into an airtight container. Add a desiccant pack. Keep it in a dry and dark place. It can be stored for many years if done properly. When choices start to disappear, the advantage does not belong to the one who has more food, but to the one who still has ways to turn simple things into something they can continue eating. 4. Nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast taste switch. You do not skip meals because you run out of food. You skip meals when you no longer want to eat. In the first days, everything is still fine. You eat regularly, you think you have prepared enough. But after a few days, something starts to change very clearly. Not the amount of food, not nutrition, but the feeling. Everything becomes bland, repetitive, and you start eating less, even though you still have plenty in front of you. This is the point many people do not prepare for. Not a lack of food, but the loss of the desire to eat. Nutritional yeast does not replace a meal. It intervenes in the eating experience. Just a very thin layer. A light, savory taste, slightly like cheese, appears. Not too strong, but enough to create a difference. And that small difference makes you return to the familiar meal. In terms of the body, it still carries clear value. Complete protein, B vitamins, especially B12, directly related to the nervous system and baseline energy levels. But what makes it valuable is not in the nutrition chart, but in the fact that you do not abandon the meal. The comparison is very clear. A meal repeated over many days will make you gradually bored, even though you can still eat it. But just a slight change in taste, you eat normally again. If left open for a long time, the smell will gradually fade and the effect almost disappears. The way to store it is very simple. Airtight container, dry, away from light. It can be used stably for 1 to 2 years. When everything around you starts to become monotonous, what helps you continue is not adding more food, but keeping the desire to eat. 3. Dried seaweed, silent micronutrients. There is a type of decline that does not come immediately. You still eat enough, still function normally, but over time, the body responds more slowly. You get tired more easily, have more difficulty concentrating, and the feeling of cold appears sooner. There are no clear signs for you to notice right away. This is not a lack of food, but a lack of a very small group of factors that control the entire metabolic process. Iodine is one of them, and dried seaweed is a rare natural source with very high density. Just a small amount is enough to meet daily needs. The special point is that it almost does not depend on complicated storage conditions. Light, dry, no need for refrigeration, no need for much preparation. While other foods are easily disrupted in supply, seaweed often still sits quietly on the shelf. But if exposed to humid air, it will quickly soften, lose its crispness, and reduce in quality. Therefore, it needs to be kept completely sealed, avoid moisture, and can add a desiccant pack to maintain its original state. When stored properly, it can last for a very long time. The comparison is very clear. You can eat enough calories every day, but if you lack iodine over a long period, your body still functions less efficiently without you understanding the cause. This decline does not happen suddenly. It accumulates, and by the time you realize, it has lasted long enough to have a clear impact. Small things like that are often overlooked, but they are what determine whether your body maintains a stable state or gradually declines without knowing why.
Comment faire des bouillons cubes de légumes
Bouillon
pour
cubes.
rehausser le goût de vos.
Bouillon
Hello tout le monde,
cubes, a
j'espère que vous
delayed
êtes là
collapse point.
au cas où vous
The
n'utilisez
hard
pas
truth
de
is,
bouillon. Nous allons faire juste
you do
le
not
bouillon
collapse
légumes et
because
là
you
je
run
vais
out
les
of food.
découper en petits
You
morceaux
collapse when
deux
you stop
pour
eating
pouvoir
enough,
bien nettoyer
and
entre
that
les
does
à
not happen
l'intérieur.
suddenly. It happens very
Ils sont de
slowly,
l'oignon doux,
almost
mais
impossible to
utilisez
notice.
n'importe quel oignon de.
The first day you eat
Pour la
normally.
quantité des légumes, de
By the third
céleri,
day,
2
you eat a
poireaux,
little
une
slowly.
courgette et du
By the
persil.
seventh day,
Encore, vous
you
pouvez
start
ajouter
leaving part of the meal. Not because you are full, but because you no longer want to continue.
commencer. Je vais verser un
This is
filet
not
d'huile
emotion.
d'olive
This is a natural
végétale.
mechanism.
Ensuite,
When
je
taste
rajoute,
signals do not change,
je vais
the
mélanger
brain
et
reduces the
environ une
motivation
cuillerée à
to
café.
receive. You
C'est
still
juste
have
pour
food in
permettre
front of
aux
you,
légumes de libérer
body
leur
no
jus, de
longer
remuer de
cooperates.
temps en temps.
Bouillon
jusqu'à
cubes do not
comme
solve
vous le
hunger.
voyez.
They solve the
Ensuite,
breaking
sur
point.
quelques minutes,
One small
là,
cube
les légumes ne
changes
sont
the
pas encore
taste
bien
signal,
ramollis comme
and
je le
immediately
souhaite.
the
Et
brain
je tourne
receives familiar
régulièrement
stimulation again.
un peu de jus
Salty,
et c'est bien
rich,
mou.
clear.
Vous pouvez aussi
And that
utiliser un
alone
mixeur plongeant
brings eating
pâte
behavior
bien
back.
lisse
You do not eat
sur
more.
obtenu dans ma
You just
poêle
stop
et je
decreasing.
vais
At
tourner
a
à
deeper
feu
level,
doux le temps
the
que
salt
la
and minerals in
mixture.
it keep the electrolyte system from gradually
Je les ai
drifting
tous
over
bien
time.
rincés, bien nettoyés.
When
Et
electrolytes
avant de
are
rincer le
imbalanced,
poireau, je
the
l'ai
body
coupé
does
en
not
jus
raise an alarm.
parce que je ne vais pas rajouter de
It only
l'eau.
reduces
Je vais juste
performance.
surveiller de près.
Hands get colder.
Là,
Miso
les qui
becomes
concernent
slower.
l'oignon, je suis partie sur
Reactions become weaker.
le sel,
You do
c'est
not
juste de votre
recognize the
choix,
problem.
c'est peu
You just
importe.
feel not right without knowing why.
Je reverse ma mixture
The
de légumes. Je
comparison
suis
is very
partie sur
direct.
3 carottes,
With the same
4
amount of
branches
food,
parce qu'il y a
but without
souvent du
taste.
sable qui se
You will eat
loge.
less
Allez, vous
over
allez
each
bien.
day.
Alors aujourd'hui, je vous
With
montre
taste,
comment je vais les verser
maintain
dans
a
mon
stable
racheur
level.
pour les mixer. C'est
The difference
n'importe
is not
quel
in the
légume
food,
qui vous fait envie.
but in the chain of repeated behavior. Bouillon cubes are not something big.
Là, nous allons
They are not
dans ma
prominent,
poêle. Vous
but
pouvez
they
utiliser
intervene
aussi,
at the
je
most
rajoute
important moment.
les légumes
When
découpés,
you start to
feu
decline without
doux, je vais
realizing it.
remuer, tourner quelques
Storage
bouillons
has almost no
industriels.
risk.
Donc cette fois-ci,
Just
je vais
keep dry and
rajouter un
sealed.
peu de sel.
It can last for
Environ
many years.
se concentre
And
en
because
goût.
no one
Ensuite, je
considers
vais
it essential,
couvrir et je vais
it is
laisser les
always
légumes.
left when
Là, c'est
everything
bon.
else has been taken.
C'est à ma
And that
convenance.
is the
Et après,
paradox you
je vais
only
les mixer
understand
jusqu'à
when
obtenir
it is too late.
un gros oignon, des
What
gousses
makes you
d'ail, jusqu'à ce que
collapse is
les
not the lack
légumes
of
ne
food,
libèrent leur jus. Ensuite,
but
je vais
that you
verser la
slowly
mixture
stop
sur
eating
du papier. Donc, je vais
while you
encore
still
couvrir
think you are
quelques
fine.
minutes.
1. Canned pumpkin, the silent stabilizer. I walked into the supermarket and immediately realized something was not right. The rice shelves were almost empty. Familiar canned goods had disappeared by half. But right next to them, canned pumpkin was still sitting there, full. No one took it. And that was when I understood something. What remains on the shelf is not something useless, but something the system has not yet removed. Many people think products disappear because they are out of stock or because everyone buys them. But the reality is much deeper. What disappears first is always what the system is designed to sell the fastest. Rice, beans, noodles, high turnover, low margin, completely dependent on continuous supply flow. When demand suddenly increases, that chain cannot handle it. It breaks first. Not because of shortage, but because it cannot keep up. But pumpkin is different. It is not in the group prioritized to be kept. Not because it is not important, but because it does not generate enough profit. And this is the silent killer. Margin, shipping costs, and shelf space. The price of metal cans rises. Logistics becomes more expensive. Each meter of shelf must generate more money than before. And when supermarkets are forced to choose, they keep what sells fast with higher profit. Products like pumpkin, slow, cheap, less attractive, are gradually removed. No one announces it. But I have seen some stores stop restocking since the beginning of this month. What you are seeing may be the final batch, but its real value is not in nutrition, it is in behavior. After day 7, day 10, you are not lacking food. You begin to not want to eat anymore. Same taste, same texture. Repetition makes you tired before you are hungry. And that is when the silent stabilizer takes effect. A few spoons of pumpkin do not make the meal clearly better, but they make it different. And just being different, you will continue eating. The comparison is very clear. One can of pumpkin costs $1 to $2. One freeze-dried meal costs $12 to $15. Many times the cost, for the same purpose, helping you maintain eating under repetitive conditions. One side is heavily advertised, one side is forgotten. But when the shelves are empty, the expensive one disappears first. The simple one remains last. And when things like this disappear, you do not just lose one food. You lose the low-cost option. The cost per meal increases. You are forced to buy things that are more expensive, less flexible. One small change on the shelf begins to lead to a big change in how you live. For me, this is no longer just a can of pumpkin. This is a sign that the system is quietly deciding again what is allowed to exist. And if something simple, cheap, useful like this can be removed, then the things you think are always there will be the next to disappear. You may have realized one thing. The most important things are not what people rush to buy, but the things behind them. The things that keep you eating, keep your body from slipping. The system does not collapse in one day. It withdraws little by little. Fewer choices, less stability. And the most dangerous thing is you do not notice it immediately until something familiar disappears and you no longer have the same choices as before. So the question is no longer what should you buy, but are you understanding correctly what actually keeps you stable? Because in the end, the one who lasts is not the one who has the most, but the one who understands the most correctly. What are you overlooking that you think is not important?